Hello, welcome to the latest COVID cast that's being shown on Insurance Age and Insurance Post. I'm Sian Barton, editor of Insurance Age, and I'm here to ask the question, how can brokers stay close to customers and clients during these strange times? Now, joining me, we have Anthony Gruppo of Marsh Commercial, we have Richard Tuplin of Ethos Broking, and Peter Goodman of Aventus. Welcome, everyone.
Nice to be here.
Thank you, Sian. Nice to be here.
So the first question, it's directed to the brokers in the group, really. How have you been keeping in touch with your clients, and what sort of guidance have they been asking you for? I don't know if you want to kick things off, Richard.
Yeah, it's obviously the first contact has been, has there been any cover in place to respond to the COVID-19? That is ultimately the first point of call, and then that's spanning out to when the next renewal is, cost mitigation, and then that is going on to a wider piece around what support is out there. You know, we are picking up being a general advisor piece as well, and that's imperative for our community-based relationships. It's adding that extra value, and then sometimes you're just there as a listening piece for clients. I think I've instructed the business to say, look, we've got to be empathetic. People are going to be frustrated. Nobody's had a practice run at this. So being empathetic, being sympathetic, and giving the best guidance we possibly can as an advisor, either in the insurance world or as a wider business advisor, has to be that first part of call for us.
And how about you, Anthony? What sort of tech have you been using to keep in touch?
Yeah, thank you. So as my colleague said too, you know, thinking about claims, certainly it's at a lot of the discussion point. But also what they really want to talk about is what will the world look like when we come out of this? There's a lot of strategic discussion, because I think we all know that after 9/11 and crash in '08 and others, that the world will change. So there's a lot of business, a lot more strategic discussion, research development, outcome-based behavior of how we're going to look in the future. So, and I think as far as the other part of your question of keeping contact, so beside the standard calls and Zoom, I'm also seeing a lot more interaction on social media and a lot more focus groups of clients by certain genre of business. So I think this has opened up a lot of opportunity where individuals who did not get a chance to meet each other now are. So members of our team who maybe couldn't meet with a client in the past because of logistics now can. And clients and buyers who were stretched out over geography, now with Zoom, we can all attend. So it's opened up some opportunities that I think weren't there before. But strategic, certainly claims and coverage, but also what the world will look like when we come out of this.
Good stuff. Now, Rob Simpson from Towergate has managed to join the call. Welcome, Rob.
Hiya, sorry about that.
That's okay. Now, we were discussing how brokers have been keeping in touch with their clients during this strange period of time, and also a little bit touched on what sort of guidance clients are looking for. Can you share your experience?
Yeah. So we've done a huge amount of work. We've had a clear communication strategy with clients and prospects and our people, giving us the ability to provide support through our risk alerts, business information alerts, and general communications through our existing infrastructure. With the development of obviously COVID-19 pandemic and subsequent restrictions, we've scaled up our support for our clients and prospects. We're probably doing 4 articles per week being added to our COVID-19 information centre on our website and social media channels, and we've had over 300,000 opens since this was set up, which is quite a significant hit rate. In answer to the second point, an insurance, as risk managers, we have been asked many insurance-specific questions relating to the impact of COVID-19, and as you expect from trusted advisors, we have also had many general business-related discussions. We've invested a lot in learning and development with a focus on technical training, and I don't think our people have ever been better equipped to help support our clients during this time of need.
Great stuff. I just want to bring Peter into the conversation now. Peter, you're coming at everything from more of a tech perspective, and I know you guys have touched on the tech that you're using to help communicate with your customers at the moment. Peter, what sort of technological help is out there to help brokers stay in touch?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, again, kind of, I think there's going to back with what we were saying before around, you know, your children walking in on meetings or your dog opening doors. And seriously, I think there has been a humanisation of contact, which I actually think, you know, when you do it with your friends or you connect with family over Zoom, I think you realise that there is an empathy that can be created over video. And I think that there is some, which I think was taken for granted when you'd call maybe your family members, but actually with everyone, and I mean everyone in the same, literally in the same situation here, everyone has kind of grown up. I think the appreciation of technology has grown much more, and its implications in terms of doing business over Zoom instead of having to travel all that way to go and do a face-to-face meeting that may be an hour. Certainly, what the conversations we've been having with prospects and clients is how can we incorporate the things we're doing socially into our business processes, because I think that that's something that, you know, people are going to look to leverage much more often and have that at your fingertips. So certainly, you know, video for brokers, I think, is going to be a really, really powerful tool moving forward in order to do business as usual, if business ever is as usual again. And I think that having the flexibility to build into a cloud system is going to be sort of the art of that kind of deployment, and improvements and engagement is going to be sort of the demand has risen hugely in this period versus, you know, business as usual before. People know that this can work, but I think everyone having to live the same experiences really makes everyone agree on the fact that actually it's better for potentially for long-term business.
And in terms of the number of platforms, video platforms available, are you finding yourselves sticking to one particular platform, or are you using a few depending on who you're talking to? I don't know if one of the brokers wants to pick that question up.
Yeah, sure. There's obviously Zoom you hear a great deal about, but a lot of it depends on the client. Some are using WebEx, some have different systems. And Peter made a comment that, look, what we're finding out on these platforms is it's now a human experience. It's not just a business experience anymore. We had put together just for families links and contacts for children, right? All the things that they could do online. So as the Marsh companies put that together and said, okay, look, what about the children? How do we help people be able to work some things around a family so they can run their business? It went crazy hot because it was things that can help a family. So we're in a new world now. This is new dimension. New platforms are going to be developed that never existed before as this goes through. And of course, the cyber issues become critical now with all of us working at home.
Richard, what are your thoughts?
I agree with the colleagues. I think one thing I will be viewing at is how does the client want to be served? And I think to jump straight out of this with a knee-jerk saying, look, we've got pressures on our P&Ls, we know that every business has, but let's start with the client. And some clients will embrace this technology far quicker than others. There's other sectors that will be more reluctant to come along. And of course, we can move that, but that won't dictate to a client service if that's how you're going to be served. It should be, how can we embrace this and improve the relationship and the productivity coming out of it? That would be my starting point, Sean.
Rob, how are you finding your clients are adapting to using the different technologies to communicate with your Towergate guys?
I'd say in the main, it's a necessity. People have had to make the adaptation, whether it was mobile calls. Some people didn't actually like dealing with mobiles. Then we moved into Skype. We didn't particularly use the video functionality of it. We moved over to Teams, and now everyone's on show. And I think it's quite a leveler with everyone being at home. We've all got things going on in the background earlier. People walking in, bringing cups of coffee, children, noise, dogs barking. Whereas before it was quickly mute it. It's almost accepted, and actually that's a good thing. I think it helps personalise it. People will feel more comfortable. And having a little bit of banter about what's on the picture and behind you, or what have you got there, and what's that trophy for, actually adds that personal touch to what can be quite a functional conversation. So I think it's been brilliant. We are evolving into Microsoft Teams more and more, and using the functionality, which has been great to support us.
Great stuff.
Just from an outsider's point of view, what I've always enjoyed about the insurance industry as a whole is its social, and its personable kind of customer care and customer love. I was in a completely different industry. I built and sold a technology company in a different industry, and then I've come into insurance about 6 years ago. And I love the social aspect of insurance. And I think this is actually a really big blessing here, because people are generally pretty good face-to-face in insurance, very good at the kind of emotional selling, for want of a better word, and customer care. So I think from an adoption and an adaptation perspective, insurance individuals are perfectly poised for it.
What I was going to ask back then was, how have you found experiencing the use of video tech? Have you had any incidents where perhaps people have wandered into shot or pets have joined the conversation? Just to sort of pick up that point around empathy and seeing a little window into people's lives at home.
Yeah, the dog is more famous. I think it's had more video call time than I have, and you get on the call with the exco team and say, "Oh, is Murphy there?" So you end up picking the blooming dog up, but again, I think it's that honest disclosure about who we are. We're all human, and what they can see us all is walking in, not you, Peter, but us walking in with suits and polished, and this perception of what leaders of businesses are in this corporate world. Yet this reality of we're actually base level humans, and we all face those same challenges and those base interruptions through family life. So that's been a real, it's gelled the business together, to be honest. Certainly at the Bravo Exco level I've never known my colleagues more and be more understanding of their lives at home than I ever have been. And that's helped the relationships without a shadow of a doubt.
I think we moved from a corporate language to a human language. I think that a lot of times we walk into boardrooms and meetings and we use corporate speak. But now I think we're adopting the right way to humanity, and we're speaking to each other in a more open manner, and people are sharing personal experiences and what they're going through with loved ones and struggles, and because in our business, that's what we're here for. We're here to help people and their families. So I think it's put us inside the living room instead of the boardroom, and we're getting to a better outcome.
Great stuff. Rob, what have you experienced?
So I'd say it's changed people's perception of work. We all work hard. We're not here to sit from 9 till 5 or whatever your prescribed hours are. It's about how much value you put in and get out of work. And a great example is my son. I was chairing a board meeting in Tib last week, and my son brought a cup of coffee, and before it would be shh, Chuck, quick, go low down, don't let anyone see you. And actually I was quite proud. I've got a nice fresh cup of coffee in front of me, and it's that human side to it. We are all fun people trying to get out of our suits, and actually dressing up today was a bit of a novel experience, putting a proper shirt on. And Friday we actually have a dress up day. We're going to donate money to charity. We've set up a Just Giving page. There's all these great fun ideas to help people realise that, life has changed, but we can still make it a fun balance as well.
Obviously, lots of innovation going on all around us. I do want to touch on a little bit around the practicalities of every day. So in terms of the brokers in this conversation, how are you handling renewals? And going beyond that, how can you win new business in this current situation?
Yeah, let's talk about the new business for a minute, because I think everyone thought initially we could really struggle through this type of environment, and certainly we all have to change our mindsets and how we work through it. But what I'm seeing right now is that from sales and new business, it continues to go on because everyone has to adapt to it. The buyer, the prospect, the client, and I'm noticing that now you have opportunities where you can, let's say from a prospect, you can involve the prospect in a Zoom meeting with the team that's building solutions long before you get to the closing table. So now this technology gives us an opportunity to be in a think tank together versus presenting to someone. And I think it's changing the dynamics a great deal. Renewals can run as they did, right? We're all working through it, and people have to work in teams and how to do that remotely. But the colleagues and our clients are all realizing that we're not going to go back. There's a lot of people that like this model of work. So I think it's going to change. It's going to change this forever.
Richard, how is the Ethos group handling it?
Yeah, I think building on what Anthony said, I think email is dangerous at this stage. I think there's the old adage is when is the best time to tell your client you love them, and that's before somebody else does. So, you know, we can't be absent in how we pick up the phone, do the video calling. That's got to be a primary contact point with the client, consistently delivering at times where difficult conversations are going to have to exist. The basics of sales and activity and developing those pipelines won't change. I think the difference is, are you a business, is that you're going to be look internally? And we all have to some extent, but how externally focused are you going to be to drive through? And ultimately, we're all sat on the call saying that's going to be the difference between your pressure on your renewal income and the gap on the P&L is how you drive your new business. So fall asleep at the wheel or don't. I think they're the choices we have, Sian.
How about you, Rob?
Yeah, so look, Towergate is quite a diverse business. We have a huge amount of our people who already work in a sort of distance communicative way, and therefore it's no change there. We've always developed our proposition to give people the information that they can make that decision. New business, we're finding that actually we're having some successes on the back of the risk management, the support that we've been providing out there. Our COVID-19 information centre has, as I said earlier, posted sort of 4 or 5 new articles every week, and we've actually picked up some new business on the back of that information, the support. We've mobilised 1,700 people to work from home. 4 years ago, before we invested in our latest technology, we couldn't have done that. It's just been transformational. And so I'd like to think that our customers are not really noticing a huge change. They're in the same boat. They're having to make the same phone call. So it's not we're out of kilter with the market. I think there will be changes ahead positively for everyone. And part of that will be looking at the way we travel, the way we deal with our meetings, and having conscious decisions. What is the best thing all round here for the customer, for us, for our people? And so, yeah, there's some huge positives out there. It is a challenging time and worrying for our people and for our clients and customers, but it's just a matter of working through it with them and supporting them. But there will be some really positive changes.
That is actually leads me quite nicely into the next question that we wanted to ask everyone. Peter, I don't know if you want to kick things off here. What are the positives that can be taken from this situation, and what opportunities do you think might be there in terms of how people operate their businesses?
Yeah, I mean, again, obviously, I think the empathy one's been played out from the positive side of stuff. But I also think that from a business perspective, understanding what is possible. I think people have had quite a lot of time at home, and because if you think about both your commute and your going to and from meetings, if you actually added that up, there is a lot of time that you're not doing things, and I think I've certainly seen a lot of people I speak to reflecting on their processes, reflecting on the way that they conduct business in terms of using technologies better and coming up with ideas. I mean, normally we pitch customers, right? We normally, we've got an operating system and we kind of target the smaller end of the market. So we're trying to provide digital democratization to the smaller insurers, MGAs and brokers. And people are coming to us with ideas because they're thinking about how they want to do business moving forward, rather than us pitching, telling them how great we are and what we can provide them with. What we're actually seeing is them saying, does your system do this? Or it'd be really nice if we could have this? Or have you looked at, integrating video into, within the chat, being able to, pre-fill question sets and stuff which I find fascinating, because I think people, certainly in insurance experience, they are full of ideas, but the day job gets in the way of either implementation or telling people about them. And I think it's definitely given a little bit of time for people to think about how they might want to personally conduct business, and then obviously having the chance then to share with their colleagues and grow their own ideas in a way that I think is really healthy. And I think that is it also gives you another bit of an impetus for your own job. Because if you can change the way that you want to do your job in a way that better suits the way that you can operate, I actually think in a weird way, coming out of it, people, the new world, no one knows what that will look like, but I certainly think the mindset of individuals has shifted beyond the norm and beyond what we used to do. Because doing nothing is a big thing in insurance, in my opinion. technologies, it's kind of okay because we've been making great money. So doing nothing was always our biggest competitor, how I see it. But actually now doing nothing is not really acceptable. It's kind of, and people don't want to do nothing. They want to do something to better their business and their communications or customer care, whatever it may be. So I think it's going to be a really healthy outcome.
Anthony, obviously we have to balance all the positivity with acknowledging what is happening to some people and their lives. But as we know, brokers are entrepreneurial, positive people. So what do you think your business can take from this situation?
Yeah, Sean, there's been so many incredible positives from this for families and business and people. What we always struggled with is as business leaders and we'd see in the course of a day, we'd get a lot of data, but often very little information. This has taught us to be more informative. So for example, at Marsh, we were constantly pumping out intellectual capital, always giving information on how we're going to look when this come out of this and risk and all the other issues. We thought that people, it might be too much, but in reality, they're saying they're able to link it now in this world because they see the futuristic strategy of it all. So now we're seeing what I'm encouraged about is, as Rob was saying and others, is we were working remote. We had work from home environments, but now we're having living and working at home, and that's very different. That a single mom, parents that people that are looking after sick parents that take care of the elderly, now can be more productive. They can work different hours. They don't have to have a 2-hour commute in the morning and deal with that and come home and not even have time to read a book to their baby. So I think as we start to restructure this humanity of it all, it'll be more of informative. Families will be better served. We'll be able to have different learned behaviors. And I think overall, we can come out of this much stronger than we went into it.
Richard, how do you see the new normal?
I think we can look into the crystal ball. I think each organisation will define what their normal is. I think the first point is, Rob touched on the communicating with clients for a start. I think before we went into this, we had touch points with clients. How meaningful was it? Was it more new bias than existing clients? We put together client care packs which cover insurance risk management, claims to wider government support, making it easy for clients to see it all in one place. And coming out of this is we're going to communicate very differently with our clients. It'll be interesting to see the regulatory piece as this working from home develops on oversight, how the regulator will view that and what controls and practices we need in our businesses. And the big thing for me is the value. Where do brokers add value in the chain? And we're all looking at that. And I think the clients will be scrutinising us now is, where are you? What are you doing? Where is your job in this chain from the beginning of the policy right through to the claim? COVID apart from where we are, it is demonstrating that with the client. So overall, it's just an exciting place to be. I'm not going to land on any place now. Nothing's off the table, but it's got to start and finish with the client and then feed well into our people. And probably what I'd build a little bit on, Sian, is whilst we're on the positives, is the mental health piece. So whilst we've got the positives of video conferencing, no travel, we've got to be really disciplined around sitting in your study from 7:30 in the morning till 7:30 at night, and the culture we bring to our organisations of whether that's going to be on our watch or not. We've got to, as Anthony says, reading a story to your daughter when they're going to bed, that's fantastic. But we don't want the culture of the business to feel we want more out of people. We just want balance, and we've got to get all the positives out of that. And that would be my ending comment, and that is keeping an eye on our mental health of our people and our executive teams.
Thanks, Richard. And finally, Rob, is balance, do you think balance is really what might come out of this situation? Is that one of the biggest positives do you think we'll be able to take as we move forward?
Yes. Listen, I'm a big advocate of work-life balance, and actually trying to we've got some great people who work in Towergate and the wider group, trying to encourage more and more great people to join our organisation and to keep our great people we've already got. We need to constantly evolve, and I think this flexibility will attract a new audience, perhaps who weren't seeing our world as flexible enough to fit the modern day requirements. So I think flexibility of working, as I said earlier, we need to reset our thinking for meetings and travel. I often do round trips of 7 hours in a day to go for meetings, and that's just the travel time. What will happen in the future? Yes, you still need to have face-to-face. I think communication is going to be critical, and we are, like Richard said, we're open to anything and any great suggestions. And I've actually asked to be part of our organisation's go forward position. How can we challenge ourselves? Printing is a great example. We have historically printed reams and reams and reams of documents and paper for our customers, and we've never quite made that conscious decision to change that. And yes, do you know, we now use a third-party printing company, and we can do that. But actually, what's the right thing to do? What's the right thing to do for the environment? I think there's great opportunities internally, externally for our people, and as an organisation and industry. I think we can start to lead on this. So, yeah, really exciting times ahead.
Great stuff. Well, I think we'll wrap up the discussion there, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you to everyone who has watched the COVID cast. We'll be producing more over the next couple of weeks, so do stay tuned to Insurance Age and Insurance Post. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Sean.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.